How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Winners Club podcast. Now, if you are new here, please hit that subscribe button and turn on bell notifications so you're always notified of when we upload. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about manifestation. And to find the video and audio links, they'll be down below in the description. Make sure to go check them out, as well as our social medias. And we hope you all have a lovely spring break, and we will talk to you all later. Now, let's get into today's episode.
All right, we're live.
Word.
Sorry for the setup today, guys. I know it's a little weird, but
It was my bad. Miscommunication.
No, don't worry about it. It's okay. We're here, right? So there we go. All right. So today, gentlemen, what are we talking about?
Manifestation and the law of attraction, baby.
All right. Gibby, you want to start it off, or Brett, you want to start it off?
I'll start it off real quick. I'll just give a quick definition of what manifestation really even is. I guess it'd be kind of good. I mean, there's a lot of different terms that people kind of throw around now of what manifestation actually is. So I'll give you the definition, and then I'll kind of put in some other words. So manifestation refers to the various pseudoscientific self-help strategies that can perpetually make an individual's wishes come true by mentally visualizing them. So I'm going to touch base real quick on pseudoscientific. It's basically fake science. I'm learning all about this right now. It's not a concrete, definitive thing, even though researchers currently are attempting to develop energy frequency waves, or at least a way of examining them. So in a way, it is going to be, in my opinion, proven as a legitimate scientific phenomena. But anyways, in other words, it's the public display of emotion or feeling or something that is theoretical that is then made real. So an example, you either discipline a habit or convince your subconscious that you'll make a desire a reality. Basically, I'm just going to throw out an example. You manifest passing an exam. All right. We all want to do it. We all want to tell ourselves we're going to do something. When you instinctively, repeatedly tell yourself you're going to do something, you want that, you're embedding it in your subconscious mind as a deep desire, and essentially it is what you're just manifesting it. You know what I mean? You're speaking it into existence. That's kind of how I look at it, especially with the research that I've been doing, but I want to know what y'all think.
It's funny you said the pseudoscience thing, because as I was doing my research too, I saw a ton of that sort of saying it pretty much how some of the research is pseudoscience. And also another thing that I brought up while I was doing my research was law of attraction, which I think is a big factor and part of manifestation.
What is the law of attraction? I just want you to explain it to the audience.
Explain to the audience. So law of attraction is sort of what you put out into the universe, you attract, whether that's, positive energy, positive energy will come back to you. And same thing with, same way, negative energy. If you put out negative energy, it'll come right back to you. But I'll sort of give like my perspective on how I see manifestation. I sort of see it as like 10%, whatever you may be manifesting, I see 10% is like the idea of it. And then another 10% is the desire. And then I see 80%, sort of to get to that 100%, is just straight action to whatever you want to manifest to keep going. So that's how I see manifestation.
I'm gonna touch base with what you just said. So according to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's kind of manifestation. Also, I feel, at least in my own perspective of things, in my experience, definitely is driven by motivation. I feel like it's kind of like I would say manifestation is kind of like you get a random flash of things that you want. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, I would say it comes with visualization. Once you visualize it, you're very, very motivated to act on it. So it kind of goes into Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is basically kind of like a stacked pyramid of levels of motivation, and the top obviously being the highest factor of motivation. So I'll just give a quick breakdown of it, because I agree with what you were saying, and it runs along the same lines of this. So physiological needs is at the very, very bottom. Okay. Then we go up to safety needs. Both are kind of like, not really, they're needs. They're not really wants or desires. They have benefit to you, but it's not going to change your life. Belongingness needs come third. Esteem. So, I mean, esteem's pretty self-explanatory. You feel positive when you're motivated. Cognitive needs, aesthetic needs. So now you're kind of getting into money. And then self-actualization needs is at the very, very top. And when you self-actualize, basically the definition that I wrote down is people who feel they have fulfilled their unique creative potential are called self-actualizing. So when we manifest, we're basically seeing or visualizing our truest potential. You know what I mean? I've never heard of somebody manifesting something, I guess, bad intentionally. I mean, they do it unintentionally without knowing it. But yeah, I just wanted to include that because I thought it was kind of something interesting. But my bad, Miles, you go ahead.
So once again, manifestation to me, kind of just call it what it is. It's just like speaking into existence and, hoping those things come to you. Manifestation works by connecting our goals to our actions and by reframing our minds. And reframing our minds to connect more deeply to our thoughts through a process which is called neuroplasticity, which is the ability of the brain to grow, change, and adapt. So it's mainly more active towards your childhood and teenage years. So like us right now, right? Our brains, it's working at almost its highest potential right now. We're learning new things every day. We see new things every day. And with this process going on, right, we see more and more things. I'm kind of going to go off of like what Gibby was saying about how, what were you saying? You were saying about almost like it's like driven by motivation, or almost like a I like to look at it as like a positive impulse, almost, right?
Yeah.
You see something and you get motivated by it, right? That's kind of your brain is seeing all these things and connecting all these different things, right? You get that little impulse that drives you to do a certain thing, right? That's kind of how I look at it almost. And I think the more and more you work at it and manifest it, it'll really come true. But once again, I think manifestation is really just speaking it into existence and, having that little impulse in your brain. So
I want to connect on what you say. You say that like you get a jolt, right? It's
Right.
kind of like that I don't know if people out there have experienced this, but it's like 3 a.m, or this
That
is way
3
back,
a.m.
that 3 a.m.
impulse.
impulse. I feel like that's just like an idea that just sparked, which that to me is like that 10%. But the other 10% that I put was sort of the consistency of taking the idea and really creating the path to then go to creating the success and accomplishing that successful manifestation. So I just wanted to add that in there.
I like that. I kind of look at manifestation as like a map. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of just portrays to you where you are currently and where you can get. Just had a whole freestyle about this yesterday, kind of talking about purpose and stuff like that. But I mean, people do definitely manifest their purpose once they find it and where it can lead to. So I'm just going to get into a list of people, celebrities, significant celebrities who have claimed to have manifested their success. List I have is Oprah Winfrey, Jim Carrey, Drake, Ariana Grande, Tom Holland, and Demi Lovato. That's just a few. Just a few. What about you guys? You guys got anybody?
There's many more, like Jay-Z, Conor McGregor. Let me see. I have I have an article here. Arnold Schwarzenegger, LMFAO. If you guys obviously remember who that is,
Yeah.
of course. Lady Gaga. Did you say Steve Harvey?
I did not, but Steve
Harvey's another one. Will Smith.
Yep.
All these, Denzel Washington.
Yep.
There's many more to go. How about you, bro? What you got?
I just had Oprah Winfrey and Drake, what Gibby had on the list. But I just find it kind of interesting. We brought up earlier the whole visualization thing. And with Oprah Winfrey's story, it's kind of funny because she visualized her getting a role in one of Steven Spielberg's The Color Purple. And she repeatedly visualized her playing that actor. And she actually did get the role. So I thought that was very interesting, just to add to Gibby's point.
It's kind of like you paint a picture of something, and then if you like the way it looks, you know it's possible because you visualize it. And the power of visualization is super, super interesting because it's one of the few senses that humans have of visualizing with their eyes, where we actually have kind of, what's the term? Awareness. You know what I mean? We have awareness of the feelings. It's almost like a conscious lucid dream in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a spiritual practice, and we talk a lot about that. It's a psychological mechanism. There's also a lot of benefits with it, though. So benefits that I have of manifestation are mood improvement, increase of mindfulness, like I said, what we've talked about, organization of thoughts and feelings, and creative paths for motivation. I think definitely when you manifest, it's a whole lot of not only intrinsic but also extrinsic motivation, because you're intrinsically motivated because, whoa, I just pictured myself as a millionaire in 10 years from now. Makes me excited. Extrinsically can motivate you because I'm going to be a better person for a lot of other people in my life.
Gibby, I have a question to ask with that too. So what do you think the people who say they get really excited about something for 2 weeks and then just end up crumbling the idea, what do you think happened to their thinking? I'd like to it's interesting.
Yeah, that's a good question. So I'm going to say there's definitely a list of factors that I believe play into that. Number one, let's observe, the right now. Where are you in your life? If you are trying to make significant changes and you're kind of going 0 to 100, you're going to burn out. It's very, very hard to do that. I mean, some people have the willpower, but it's people who have had to face significant challenges in their past. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
David Goggins, perfect example. I mean, we all know David Goggins' story. I'll once again say it. He was a 300-pound cockroach sprayer and joined the Navy SEALs, lost over 100 pounds in 3 months. 9 months later, he's out of buds and he's a Navy SEAL. So obviously that is very, very significant. And he was gone through 3 hell weeks, he turned his life around. Very, very hard to do that. And I think people get turned off by that when they realize what they're signing up for is actually going to command a lot more than what they thought. And that's kind of where it is that they have not actually manifested anything. They just had a vision and thought it would become very attainable very fast. So that's kind of my thing on it, but that may just be from personal experience because I did used to kind of wave in the white flag very quickly, kind of whenever I, again, felt that little burning sensation or where I had to sweat a little bit, bleed a little bit. So be it, I have that attitude where I can endure it, but I think the feeling of uncomfort is not a fun thing, and that's something that people are turned off by. But I also want to ask you now, what do you think people do when they get past that stage? I call it the 2 week rule, when people actually decide, the very few people that decide they can withstand being uncomfortable. What do you think happens then?
I think it's a moment of realization. They realize that, okay, I did something that's uncomfortable, but I see growth with it. And then that's when they decide whether to stick with it. Like most people, I'll just give this simple example: the gym. Most people go to the gym. Whether they might hate it the first week, but I know some people the second week they're like, I really start enjoying the gym. I'm gonna stick with it because I know, one, it's making me a better person. I know it wasn't comfortable at first, but I think they're just adjusting to the change and sort of happy with the results they're seeing. So I think
Definitely.
that was a big thing.
It's also like a change of systems. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
If you're relying on poor systems, all right, for instance, if you're trying to make Dean's List as a college student or honor roll as a high school student or whatever kind of, academic feat you're pursuing, if you have poor studying habits, you know what I mean? You're not going to be successful. It's are you willing to really break down your whole diaphragm of life to perfect your imperfections on what you're trying to accomplish? You know what I mean? I am trying to graduate with a 3.9 GPA, 3.8. One of the two, I think that would get me into a good grad school, and that's my goal. But I'm not a really good studier, so I had to start changing things. You know what I mean? It's not really fun. It's a little uncomfortable, but I was able to one day sit down and manifest what my future could look like if I'm willing to make the sacrifice. You know what I mean? I'm very, very into visualization. The person who actually really got me into visualization was John Jones, and we talked about it yesterday. But I have watched the Joe Rogan podcast in the past, even before I even had any motives to make one of my own. And I remember seeing that. And I mean, everybody knows who John Jones is. I believe he's the greatest UFC fighter of all time. I'll stand by that. I mean, whatever you say about it is off the octagon dilemmas. That's fine. But he's very, very talented. And he says, this Joe Rogan podcast that I watched, that from 2010 to 2011, he had this huge spiritual awakening in his life where he started to just manifest that he had full self-confidence in himself. And that's really what it is can you manifest a better self-image of yourself, a better self-attitude? And I feel like manifestation also allows detachment. Also with mindfulness, you know what I mean? It kind of goes hand in hand. I would put them under the same spiritual category of psychology. I feel like when you are able to detach from the present moment and realize this can change, do you know what I mean? This is temporary, is then how you can continue on your path of what you originally manifested. But I'm going to go all the way back now because I still had a little bit more I wanted to touch base on. Why I believe, some people, I'm going to answer your question again, Brett. Why some people kind of waving the white flag after 2 weeks. It's another thing is that they're very ignorant of the types, I guess, of people that they're going to have to leave in the past and then rejoice with in the future. But I'm not talking about people external. I'm talking about internal, the person you are. The person you are currently, right as you kind of get a life vision of your purpose, you're not going to be the same person when you accomplish it. You know what I mean? You're going to have a lot more knowledge. You're going to have a lot greater understanding of the philosophy of life, and it's going to influence your decisions. I think when I manifested my own future, I didn't understand at the moment that I was going to have to level the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, I was going to have to change as a person, not my morals or my personality, but I'm going to have to change my persona, the energy that I put out there, because I was very, very negative, so I can attract better energy to make me a better person. And that's really what it is it's having an aspect of manifestation to get even past that 2-week trial. Some people who aren't confident can't even get by that because they don't have the willpower or deep enough desire to act on their motives. I know I kind of just gave you a whole spiel, and if it was a brain fuck, let me know. But in my mind, it made perfect sense.
I actually completely understand you. It's sort of, I see it as you got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to be able to sacrifice, whether it's being on your phone 8 hours a day, eating all these disgusting foods, for long-term thinking and just long-term investment within yourself. It may take brick by brick, but you just got to keep going.
100%.
Until it's a full house. So
100%. I really, really like that example too. Because if you simply just never stop, you're only getting closer. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think when people hit a specific age, I can't put a age limit on it, but I would say when you're nearing your 20s is kind of when you really pave the path of your future. Like everybody always says who's older than us, I wish I knew what I knew now at your age. So it's just a matter of if you're going to take that information or not. But I think there's 2 routes to go if you manifest your future and really, really sit down and think about it. There's 2 staircases, all right? Mm-hmm. There's that one staircase that's literally just a floor and then a flat plateau, and it's all comfortable. You don't even break a sweat going up it. You know what I mean? Yeah. But you're always going to be at that one floor. You're never going to go past anything besides that one floor. That's the only thing you'll ever know. But to the left of that is this huge spiral staircase, you know what I mean? And all the way at the top is success, money, lifelong friends, business partners, healthy relationships, a lot of benefits at the top. The thing is, though, you have to fucking climb that shit, and it's going to take a long time. It's not going to be fun. There's going to be points where you want to quit. You look up, and you just got to keep going. Like, when does this ever end? I decided that I'm going to go down that one, though. because I would rather find out what's at the top of there than be kind of living with regret of never even going down that road. I would not like to be at the same level my entire life. I want to have multiple experiences. I want to learn. I want to be philosophical. I want to give good advice. I feel like I could do that at some point in my life. So that's that. But in terms of what you just asked me before that? I kind of just got sidetracked.
Like way back, what I asked you?
No. The building. Bricks.
I just finished with like I think people need to, rather than sort of what you're saying is get uncomfortable, get out of your comfort zone.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
It was the uncomfort stage. So it's about also disciplining your mind. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
And I talked about that in my own little definition that I pieced together, is disciplining habits, disciplining uncomfortable habits in a way, the ones that will sacrifice short-term pleasure for long-term success. It's kind of like investments, and this is something that I forgot to get into, but I want to get into. Have you guys ever noticed that a lot of successful people value their health? They take very, very good care of it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why they do that, because it keeps them in a positive mind. It benefits their mind a lot. You know what I mean? So I watch Andrew Huberman all the time, and he was talking about the benefits of not only waking up to sunlight. So, I mean, I sleep with my windows open, like my shades. So the light, even if my alarm is like not as strong in the morning as some other mornings, for whatever reason, sometimes I just don't wake up to it. The sun's going to wake me up, and it got this annoying glare in my eyes, but I'm up. You know what I mean? I will be up. I'll be awake. I got sun. You know, I got vitamin D on my face. Pause. So basically, though, what Andrew Huberman also talks about is the power of not only getting sunlight, getting a little bit of exercise. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. I mean, literally just walking to class is fine. Like, at least you're getting outside. Mm-hmm. But also, kind of getting like a little cold, you know what I mean? Like, I like to take cold showers. I talk about it all the time. There's a lot of benefits, but it's the immediate surge of dopamine that floods your brain. And a lot of successful people do this. Joe Rogan, again, I mean, I keep going off the same people, but it's the people that I really value their success, because I kind of want to mold my success into what they have. They both have iced baths, Andrew Huberman and Joe Rogan. And they say they feel like superhuman when they come out of it. I know this doesn't really have to do with manifestation, but I'm just kind of talking about successful people, though, like we said earlier, who credit some of their success to manifestation. These are other things, though, where they also take care of their health, and they take care of the things that are in their individual control. I just named 2 celebrities that, you know, do this, but there's millions of more. But I think it's very good in your 20s to think of those years of your life as kind of investments. I mean, if you take care of your health when you're a 20-year-old, odds are when you're 30, you're going to have healthy joints. You're not going to always have stiff back pain. You'll be in a much better mood. You'll even be in a much better state of mind. It's a very, very important thing, though, especially manifesting your future. If you are thinking you're going to be successful when you're 30, 40, but you don't do anything in the present moment to benefit your health, I mean, what's the point of even hoping, you know? Mm-hmm. What do you guys think about that?
And it's funny. I'm gonna ask you a question after I talk. Right. But I think health is extremely important. Like you said, the ice baths. You know, I see on TikTok, like, you ever see those people that wake up at like 5 in the morning and they like go outside and they break their ice bath, and you know they break the ice and they get in there and they sit in there for like a couple minutes, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's one key factor, but also like dieting too. Like a lot of these celebrities, like you just mentioned, Joe Rogan, and because I don't know how old Joe Rogan is, but I know he's getting there, right? But he still is in good shape because he takes care of himself, and I think that's really important. Because not only does it affect you physically, but mentally too. You know, you're going to be mentally healthier. Yep. You know, if you're putting healthy shit in your body, you're going to be mentally healthier. And if you see the results, right, it's gonna put you in a happier mood, I guess you can say.
100%.
Because if you don't take care of your health, you're always in pain, or you may be, you might have health issues. You might be fighting like obesity, right? That's not gonna make you a happy person at the end of the day. So I think it's really important to, take care of your health, especially now, so that way when you get older, you're kind of set. But the question I had for you, Gibby, before you go, Brett,
Yep.
is do you think this generation is going to last longer because, like, if we take care of our bodies better?
I don't know what's to really say that things are going to change with the rate that we're on. Half the world is going to be obese by 2035. You actually sent me that on Instagram.
Yeah, I sent him a thing on Instagram.
Yeah.
Where it was like, yeah. Well, what year was it?
2035. 2035.
That it's projected that a good amount of the human population is going to be
half, exactly half.
Half will be fighting obesity.
So
it's like scientifically projected. It's crazy. Yeah.
So I don't know.
We should have a podcast about this.
Yeah. So I don't know if things are really gonna change at all because I feel like things are only becoming more accessible, and
That's true.
I mean, what's to say that we're all of a sudden just collectively as a society are gonna say, oh, this is bad for us, even though it's the quick and easiest thing. You know what I mean? Jimmy, who has a long 9 to 5, wants to come home, doesn't have any groceries, he just wants to come home and eat something. He's gonna pick up McDonald's on the way home and eat it. He doesn't give a shit. He just worked a 9 to 5, just wants to chill and relax. You know what I mean? It's the things like that, though, the Jimmys of the world that are gonna make this harder to attain. It's you also have to keep in mind like where other people are coming from and their kind of backgrounds. I grew up all the time when I was young. My mom spoiled the shit out of me, always buying me fast food whenever I wanted it. I mean, I had a very fast metabolism, so I never gained weight, but I definitely should have. I mean, I had a horrible diet. But sometimes it's just the cheapest, you know what I mean? Especially for low-income families, families on welfare, anything like that. You got to feed the family, you know what I mean? So, especially in a society nowadays where the middle class is kind of evaporating, so it's kind of really only high class or low class. It really comes down to affordability, and that's why fast food is still around because it's so fucking cheap. I mean, what was that one? There's a crazy Burger King advertisement, I want to say a few years ago, where it was literally like 10 nuggets for $1.50.
I remember. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right? Like, there's obviously that's not good for you, but it's $1.50. I mean, somebody's gonna pounce on that who barely makes ends meet. So, it's things like that. I do obviously think though that obesity is gonna continue to skyrocket, and the generations below us, since we're now kind of growing up, are even more unhealthy. You know what I mean? We were always looked at when we were growing up as the spoiled generation, but we're kind of one of the more mature ones now,
Yeah.
Which is very, very scary.
Because it's only going to get worse, in my opinion.
Exactly. So who's to say it's going to stop? I mean, I want to ask you guys this, though, real quick.
Brad, I'm going to let you talk about what Gibby said before, and then you can go.
Yeah.
100%, yeah.
But, like, how do you guys think it can even stop? I don't know. There would have to be, like, laws or regulations passed to ban specific fast foods, and it's just going to make it a whole shit show.
Yeah, completely. I think another thing, too, I like what you're saying about how sort of, people want the least passive resistance, as you say, of, their, someone who works a 9 to 5, that Jimmy wants to go home, get McDonald's, and just rather, instead of cook groceries, but also it could be a financial issue as well. I think, too, another big thing is people's environments, who they surround themselves with, is also a big factor. If you surround people who are always getting McDonald's, getting fast food, not getting any sunlight, just staying inside, it's gonna like law of attraction, it's gonna really rub off on you. If you surround yourself with negative people, that negative energy is just gonna rub off onto you and then mold you, rather than if you hang around with positive people, positivity will rub off of them onto you. So
100%. I think what you're kind of getting at is like collectivism. I'm very into individualism. I feel like you learn the most about yourself when you're kind of thrown onto the fire of life by yourself. Or at least when you go through a stage of being alone. A lot of people are afraid of being alone, afraid of being bored. Um, they think it's a depressing kind of thing, but it's just the persona you're choosing to push that narrative. You know what I mean? It's really not a bad thing at all. I honestly believe you have to be an individualist to even manifest anything. Because what's the point? You know, what's the point of being a collectivist? What can you even manifest? Being the group leader? Like, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, you're only trying to gain superiority in that group. So I think number one, just being a collectivist is kind of bullshit. I don't really
I don't believe
understand
it.
it. Unless
In a sense, it's just
unless you're surrounding yourself with like
if it's
total
positive collectivism, right? Like if you're surrounding yourself by good people,
exactly.
really just trying to help you benefit from that. That's
Yeah.
different. But like if it's like negative and they're always like, you know,
Well, I think
That's
you should. Oh, go ahead. My bad.
I was gonna say like people on the same path as you should surround yourself with, or maybe people that are like more successful than you, sort of
yeah.
have more experience, leadership, so you can learn from that too. I think is a big thing. But
I was going to say having a balance of kind of both. Having people
Yeah.
that are already more successful than you so you can understand that what you're going through right now is still malleable. You know what I mean? The triumphs that you still have to face aren't going to define you because somebody else in your circle has already gone through them. But I also think it's kind of nice having somebody who's also on the same path as you as an accountability partner.
Yep.
Is very, very big. But that's it. That's where the list closes. And you also want to stay away from becoming, I guess, I'm not saying be anti-friend group, but I'm saying falling under their influence because that's their own life. They're just providing you advice with their own life. Always trust your own judgment, and if you know you're wrong with it, so be it. You at least trusted yourself. That's another thing that I want to talk about. A lot of people, when you really ask them, do you trust yourself? Most people are going to say yeah. But when you get it out of them in a way where like you discover their self-trust, do you trust yourself to, it's going to be a graphic example, but not, you know, have the urge to watch pornography for a week? You know what I mean? Can you trust yourself to fight your urges? It's things like that where you don't even trust your own mind. So those are the people that then fall under collectivism in my mind, because it's kind of like the comfort of having, okay, well, if I can't do it, at least I know that these guys won't either. And now we can all hang out and watch the game and drink some beer, you know? It's that which is so scary. This is an example.
The way you said that was hilarious.
Okay, well, that's exactly what it is. It's very comforting because you tried to put your feet in the water, but you just couldn't. Things like that. And that, again, it ties into manifestation because you try to manifest something, you just aren't there yet. Manifestation is a process. It's not like it's going to happen overnight.
It's not quick.
It's the habitual process of kind of, where is it? Unwavering belief. I wrote that down. Unwavering belief. You have self-trust and self-confidence that you repeatedly say it every single day that you're going to get from point A all the way to point B. No matter what, you're going to get there. You're manifesting it right now. You're investing your thoughts, your very present moment into that. And I think that's kind of just what basically we summed up of everything we just talked about. But now I also want to dive into something else. So I just wanted to ask you guys this question. You know, since we've all made changes in our lives and we all practiced a handful of things of manifestation, mindfulness, self-confidence, self-trust, self-belief, how did we even kind of like get the cue to act on it when, you know, before we had made changes? I mean, I would say all three of us made changes in like the fall. What was going on during that time when things first started to change?
Well, I realized, like, to be honest, I can't really tell. I really don't know what that little push was. It was just like one day, you know, I was sitting there and I was like, what the hell am I doing? You know, if I continue to do this, I think it was just something that all hit me at once from, you know, hearing people say, Miles, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? I wasn't getting it. I had to really go through my subconscious first. So I mainly think that's what it was, you know, just saying to myself, what the hell are you doing, dude? Like, you got to get up and really do something about this, like visualize it. That's what I started doing, you know, like manifesting my success manifesting me getting better, and that's where I am today. I'd like to say so, and I'm continuing to go down that path. But realistically, once again, I just think it was just something that I can't even tell you. It was just one day I was just like, yo, you need to get your shit together, and that was it for me. But what about you, Brad?
I think another thing too is, I mean, for me, I had multiple people like come up to me and be like, "Hey, man, are you okay?" And just them telling me like, "Man, you look terrible," stuff like that. Where it's like,
Damn.
I'm not seeing it, so it's like, man, maybe I do need to change some of this stuff. Maybe I do need to figure it out. But I do think one way to do that is you gotta get deeper into yourself, into the present, into now. And sort of when I started practicing this mindfulness, when I started journaling, reading, I'm sort of learning more about myself through this process. And obviously, at first, it doesn't click. The first week, man, why am I journaling? Why am I practicing this mindfulness? What is this doing to me? It's not about doing it the first week. It's not about being quick. It's about sticking with it. And I think if you just stick with it and continue to keep going, you learn more and more and more. It's a process. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. So,
Gibby, before you go, I do want to mention something. Now that you mentioned journaling, so I have a recommendation for the audience or anybody that's going through something and wants to manifest something, right? So I was doing some research and I came across a method called the 369 method, and it's something that involves journaling. You guys may have seen it on TikTok. That's what it said in the article. I don't remember seeing it on TikTok. But I just learned about this. And basically what you do is, in the morning, you write down a sentence 3 times of something you want, right? Then in the middle of the day, you write it down 6 times, but you make it a little bit more specific. And then at nighttime, you finish by writing an even more specific sentence of the same desire down 9 times. And if you do that every single day, and you speak it into existence, it'll happen. Which I thought was really cool.
That was dope, bro. I never even knew that.
that is very, wow.
I do something similar to that. It's not as nearly concrete and specific as that, but I mean, I do journal a lot, and I've been journaling a lot more towards manifesting like immense success. Like, I feel like I've reached some goals that I'm proud of, but nothing is comparable to what I'm aiming for right now. So for me, I write down, I mean, I have my wall decor. If I were to flip my camera right now, it's just written out messages to myself of I'm going to be successful. I calculated my GPA on the pace I'm at right now, and I'm supposed to get like a 3.5, 3.6 this semester, which is it's good. And it would bring my GPA up to around a 3.3, almost a 3.4. Not a 3.4 though. It would be a 3.3. I'd have to make some more change to get a 3.4, and it'd be a little hard because I would have to get straight A's to get it up to a 3.4. I went into this year with a 2.7, and I knew change needed to occur. So I'll touch base on that in a second. But I ended up writing 3.4 out literally everywhere in my room because that's my small win of success that's on this linear path all the way at the end where I know the end is coming, but I need to first get this little win first. And I'm striving for the success, you know what I mean? I'm striving for this 3.4, so I wrote down 3.4 everywhere. Now I'm going to go all the way back. When I first had an instinct, an intuition for success, I wanted to do something. I just didn't know what. I had just overcame a pretty big depression in my life. And I knew, obviously, change had to occur. I'm not going to do that again. Didn't know how, didn't know what, didn't know why even. Like, why am I going to even do this? I mean, I could just go back and be comfortable and just try to manipulate some other things and see if that would work. Now, I decided I'm going to do a whole 360 and really see what I have within me. Because I did learn a lot about myself during my depressive state. And first, I had the impulse to gain a fuck ton of knowledge. I don't know really why I even had that thought, but I just really was like, I feel stupid. Like, I want to know more about life, particularly psychology, why we think the way we do, why we act the way we do, why we behave the way we do, what even influences that? All these other things, because I was so lost as a person. I had no idea what I was even doing. I had a new personality for everybody in my life. You know what I mean? Like, I acted one way with him, with her, whoever. You know, I was not my true self to everybody. So I started learning about human behavior and all these other things. And I started really getting into ancient human behavior and how those kind of principles occur during that. And that's when I really got into Stoicism, and that was towards the end of the fall. And once I started getting into Stoicism, I became much more aware of how important it is to not only have self-conversations, which I do via journaling, but also reflective thoughts and thoughts to pave the way for your future. And then I really, really started manifesting. When I got a good, I guess, grasp of what I wanted to obtain, I planned it all out from that point on out. What I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it, why I'm going to do it. And that's another huge part that I totally left out before because I was being an idiot. The whys. People go into shit with no concrete why. Your why is your foundation for what you're trying to build. You can't let it crack, you can't let it mold, you can't let it crumble, because if it does, it's not a strong enough why, and the foundation will just, whatever you build on it, if it cracks, it's over. It's over, it's going to break. You got to have a strong enough why. For me, my strongest why was I saw a whole nother aspect of the world that I refused to ever see again. I wanted to become the best version of myself. When I die, I want to know I was as good as I could have been. That's a huge thing that I want you guys to talk about too, because I know you guys have some strong whys. Mm-hmm. Do your whys help you stay motivated, and did you manifest your whys? For me, I had to do a lot of reflecting to even know what my why was, and once I got it, I got it. I was like, okay. Stuck out.
Yeah, I think your whys really contribute a huge factor to whatever you're manifesting or whatever getting out of a certain situation. It really is what you said, like you said, the foundation of whatever you're creating. I mean, it really is. And I think for me, I discovered my why probably, I would say, heading into November, October-ish, like end of October-ish, heading into November. That's when I sort of started to do my journaling and like reflecting on what really keeps me going, what really motivates me, what really makes me want to live up to my full potential. And to me, I just got to think it's, my family member, like obviously my brother plays a huge why factor, is I just want to live up to my full potential and not have regret later on in life. And even if it's a small little thing of regret, I can tell once I have a family one day, I can tell my kids, this is the one thing I regret. I don't think it'll be a huge factor. Maybe it will be, but that's my why. So.
Yeah, no, same with me. Like, I mean, my why keeps me going every day, or my whys keep me going every day. Mm-hmm. Except I discovered my why, I'd like to say back in, April, May of last year. Okay. When I was still, kind of coming out of my depression, still in it, still not, a little bit. That really, made me switch gears and, turn into somebody that's, I like to say I'd always been a hard worker, but I definitely did slack at some points. But now I really have my head on straight, I'm grounded, and I really know what I want to do. Mm-hmm. So my whys, my family, my friends, meaning you guys, even stuff for myself, that keeps me going every day. It's good to wake up and look at your whys. I think that's probably one of the most important things that you can do. Waking up in the morning, realizing that you have whys, and you look at those whys and you're like, these are probably the most, if not the most important things that you have in life, and that is the reason why you should keep going. And that's kind of how I look at it every single day. So
I like that. I'm gonna set up a quick equation. So I think your whys plus your wants equal manifestation, because once you get both of those, your why and your want, you can then manifest what you actually are going to pursue, and then you get kind of the whole formula for how you're going to do it, you know?
Now, we hope you enjoyed today's listen of the new podcast. If you are new here, again, you can hit that subscribe button and turn on bell notifications so you're always notified of when we upload. And you can also click right here. We just did a whole video talking about our whys and finding our purpose. And we hope you all have a lovely day and a great spring break. Until next time.